What's going on YouTube? It's Pelfrey and we are back from vacation. Overall thrilled with the way that I left the tank. I did come back and notice that the Anchinata has some die off back there, and yeah, the glass is extremely dirty. The back wall continues to be consumed, and you know, I have no complaints there. And there's some of the famous starfish sitting here in the tank, just eating away at what they can get away with. But the auto feeder worked flawlessly. We by adding more water to the system than we needed, we only used half of the ATO, so that worked out perfectly. And mind you, I was gone for 8 nights. So, you know, it's 10 days basically. You can see here some of the chaeto has died off, so I'm definitely going to be pulling some of this stuff out because it's struggling. I mean, this whole chamber is stuffed full of it. And probably pull out the kalkwasser tube there and switch it and clean it in some vinegar. The auto feeder has done its job. I noticed off the bat that it had less food in it, which is what I wanted. Yeah, I mean, no complaints at all from me. It did exactly what I wanted it to do, and by adding more water to the system, it allowed me, let me get some focus, it allowed me to be gone and not worry about the tank. Now, I did set up a camera on the tank, and the good thing this time versus last time is I could look at the auto top-off container in the evening or in the morning whenever the refugium light was on. Otherwise, the cabinet was dark. So, Reef Keeper asked me on Instagram if my light that I got from Amazon got hot, and it does get pretty warm to the touch. No lie about that. And I can see here some of the key rings here are starting to rust from being down here, which is pretty much expected. I mean, once again, it's sitting over salt water, so I may come up with a different way to hang that. I mean, I'm not really too concerned about it because it's out of the water. Obviously, I'm using metal clamps on the soft tubing, and I do need to get some black soft tubing to keep that clean. And then somebody else mentioned getting the Red Sea O-ring kit and replacing the O-rings, but you know, I came back and I checked on it and everything looks to be good. So maybe that was just a one-off thing, but nonetheless, I am going to make sure that it doesn't leak. I mean, obviously we don't want a catastrophe in the house. I did make up some kalkwasser before I left, and I used quite a bit while I was gone. So that's a gallon there, so I'll swap it over. Not really sure how much I'm using. I mean, I guess you could calculate it out, a gallon, and I'm dosing 220 milliliters a day. But everything seems to be doing well now. Before I left, that Recordia back there was sitting on top of the Scully, and it seems that it has decided to move. So, looks like the Scully survived. I was worried about that. All the fish look nice. Definitely need to work on getting the glass cleaned up. Like I said, I'm going to pull out some of the chaeto of the sump, get some rubber gloves, a bucket, and some towels because it's a pretty filthy job. I did get some new 10-gallon brute containers in so I can start doing some bigger water changes. And I do need to check the salinity on the tank because whenever I left it was 1.025. The water that I added was like 0.23, 0.023, so a lower salinity so that it didn't, you know, raise the salinity as the water evaporated out of the system. But I'll definitely do that again. Now, I did mark this with masking tape, ATO, and I did leave a jug of water next to the tank just in case. I do have people that I could call and just say, hey, could you mind to run over and add some water to the auto top off. So I do have some people that I can call to do some things to the tank while I'm gone without worrying about it too much. So this time I only checked on the tank like 3 times, and since I don't have an apex, whereas last vacation I did have an apex, You know, I'd get alerts and this and the other thing, and I could check on things, and I didn't pay attention to it at all. Not a bit. Wasn't even a thought on my mind. It was pretty refreshing. So I suggest folks get away. Just go. You know, we did have our 3 young kids with us, and it was a lot of work. We went to Orange Beach, Alabama, by the way, and it's about an 8-9 hour drive depending on how many times you stop. So it's not too bad. It's basically a straight shot down 65. But even, you know, this vacation isn't about just me and my wife. It's about the whole family and enjoying ourselves. And that's exactly what we did. The kids had a blast. And let me tell you what, there's no better joy to me than when the kids are having fun. They had fun. The wife had a great time. They all had fun, which means that I had fun. So yeah, if you don't get out very often, I suggest you do and take a little vacation. But I'm gonna cut this off here. Appreciate you watching. Appreciate you following along. Stay tuned, folks, and I'll catch you on the next one.